Bonjour, and welcome everyone to another weekly comic review where I just kind of rummage around the weekly releases, and I've got five and five again. I've got five I'm going to do a deep dive on. Five for the deep dive. That's got to be my new catchphrase. I've got five for the deep dive, and I've got five just also rans because obviously I can't. Well, I'd love to, but the videos would be hour and a half long. And you've got to go out and buy some of these. You can't just rely on me, can you, now? Also, quickly, thank you all as you continue to help me grow the channel. It really is very much appreciated, especially if you're giving me a thumbs up and you've subscribed, you beautiful nutters. Thank you. Please continue to do so. And yeah, get involved with the comments. Just let me know what comics you're buying, what ones you like the look of, maybe something I've missed, and bring me a recommendation. I love it. I love all that. I can't rely on Paul and Alex all the time at Comics and Fantasy in Hornchurch, Essex, to recommend me stuff now, can I? Big shout out to you both. Always good to see you. And we went through a few bits and pieces together this week because there were a couple of big heavy hitters here. For me, unexpected, and they're going to be part of the deep dive. So I'm going to show you the main ones first. Here we go. Continues to be, Justice Society of America continues to be, in Jeff Johns' hands, absolutely top of the shop if you like your superheroes. How they should be done. Absolutely superb. Issue one of Dark Droids. You know what I'm going to say. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Ha ha ha. See what I did there? No pun intended. With the robots. Off to a great start there. A decent science fiction idea in the Star Wars universe. Enough said. That's how you do it. This was an intriguing beginning. I really like the setup for this and the artwork. Max Fiumara. I haven't seen his or her, actually. Could be a Maxine, couldn't it? Nevertheless, whoever that is, beautiful artwork that I hadn't seen from them before. So very, very, very nicely done. See the back cover again, blank, lads. Just a blank back cover. What a waste. You know how that gets under my skin, and no one's listening. This was one of the unexpected ones. Now, normally I don't go for. I'm a big Frazetta fan, and I'm going to kind of show the Frazetta stuff that they've taken this from. Obviously, Fire and Ice was a film back in the 80s, an animated film where they used that kind of rotoscope style, like they did on that Lord of the Rings film, not the Peter Jackson ones. They done one a long while ago, and they used this kind of animation style that is over the top of real people moving around, and it looks, just has a look to it, a style to it. But anyway, that comic is based on the Frazetta artwork. Leonardo Manco artwork in there, absolutely stunning. He's called the essence of Frazetta, and it's kept the power of his artwork. And talking of artwork, now this, I've been a Conan fan all the way back to the Barry Windsor Smith early 70s stuff. I've collected it all the way along. The Carey Nord stuff from Dark Horse, I think it was. And then I kind of drifted off of it. I was thinking to myself, yeah, I think Conan's done now, that's enough now. I'll tell you what, this one, oh my God. The artwork in it, how the essence of Frazetta in Leonardo Manco's artwork. The guy Della Torre. Anyway, we're gonna do a deep dive on that. He's taken the essence of John Buscema, who done the longest run of Conan. That's the Conan that everyone will know out of the black and white magazines and out of the comics. That is the Conan they've given us there, with the writing and the artwork. The writing is it's set at the right time in Conan's life when he's young, and they've just slotted it in and just made it, made it look easy. A bit like Jeff Johns doing the Justice Society of America. He makes it look easy to do superhero stuff. And the guy on this, Jim Zub, who's written this first issue, it does seem to be effortless for him. But that's not to, I don't mean that in a detrimental way at all. These also ran. This was the last issue of Yoda. That will make a really nice. It wrapped it up, the storyline up in 10 issues. It wrapped it up so nicely. That will make a really decent graphic novel. That storyline. I mean, the cover kind of says it all. And this final issue, it leaves Yoda on Dagobah just before Luke turns up in Empire Strikes Back. It's just a story that's just slotted in there, and I just like the way they left it. And it was a story on the edge. Obviously, that's a major Star Wars character, but what I've been speaking about for quite a while now to anyone who wants to listen, including Taters and Space Lizard, is that, and we all kind of agree that, these storylines, they only have to be on the edge. It hasn't got to include every Skywalker. It hasn't got to include Han Solo and Leia, and it hasn't got to include everyone. It just has to be on the edge, and it can be a decent storyline. And that certainly was. Another storyline well, I say storyline, a chapter. It's a bit of a weird one, because this is issue 4 of 4, but it's incomplete. It's chapter 1. Now, I've really enjoyed this. Jim Starlin. It's kind of like Thanos by any other name, this storyline. It's kind of like the life and times of Thanos. I can just see, and Jim Starlin, obviously the creator of Thanos, and a lot more. But I've been enjoying that as just a pure science fiction story. But you can really tell that it was maybe a buried Thanos story that he had in his files, and he's dug out and given it a spin into just a sci-fi story. Moon Knight continues to impress. That's just great. If you like Moon Knight and you want him done, and you want Moon Knight done properly, bit moody, sinister, at night time with the moon out, then that's a good book. This wrapped up as well this week, and I was in two minds really about this one. It's kind of Warlock light, but overall, I'm going to say I enjoyed it. And this is the final issue, and it's leading on to Silver Surfer, and Marvel, Captain Marvel's son. I don't know what they're calling him, young Marvel, son of Captain Marvel, Janice. I don't know what they do, Anyway, what I'm saying is I'm going to join aside and say I recommend it. Yeah, it isn't as deep as the old Warlock stuff that was written back in the day. They kind of went there a little bit, but, Ron Lim, Ron Mars, on the writing and the art, it has a kind of old-fashioned feel, and they didn't go where they introduced the Eve character. They didn't go where I kind of said when I reviewed issue 1, I just hope they don't. But what they've done, I think, is they've introduced a decent new character, which is good. So a lot more to praise than to pour scorn on with that one. So Lesson also ran 5 issues, so that'll make a pretty slender graphic novel, but might be worth the punt if Marvel keep the price point nice and low. It would be worth a read, and this was intriguing. I did enjoy this. This would have normally made the deep dive if I was only doing 6 and not another 5 also rans. Enjoyed this. For me, intriguing story. Carnage after all the Venoms in the multiverse. And I don't normally like the multiverse stories. A bit like with the JSA and the time travel element to it. I thought, whoa. But in good hands, these storylines can be done well. So that is my kind of, there's 10 recommendations there for comics this week. These are the good ones. Let me just say, before we go and do the deep dive, just quickly, there are good comics about. They're just, you've got to get out there, into the comic shops, talk to the boys and girls behind the counter, because they will know that not every comic is going to be the best title ever. The same as if you went into a bookshop, there are going to be bad books. The same as in the cinema, there is going to be a bad film. The same as TV, there's going to be a bad show that you don't like. So I just want to quickly say that a lot of people are bashing comics, continually bashing comics, and they highlight the ones that are woke or have got agendas behind them. And yes, I agree, they are poor. They are the poorest examples of good storytelling, and it's exactly the same in the films. It's what's spoiling superhero films and TV shows is what is spoiling a lot of comics. But I had 10 last week, and I've got another 10 for you this week. Where if you like the medium as much as I do, or you just want to try it out, whether you like fantasy, science fiction, superheroes. I mean, I haven't got an example of a detective yarn here, but Hellboy and the BPRD was out this week. So you have got every genre available in comic book form. Have a go. Anyway, here endeth the lesson. Sorry about that. I just had to get that off my chest. I don't know why suddenly this week I had to. And perhaps I should start my videos with that every week. There is good stuff out there. So stop listening to the naysayers and join me in a deep dive on the 5 bad boys. Let's have a look at the fantastic stories and artwork contained within After the Scroll. So first up this week, Justice Society of America, and like I said before, in Jeff Johns' hands. Very accomplished writer, and I've followed up with just look at how heavy this page is. This is the last issue of the storyline, of this time travelling storyline. Huntress is Batman's daughter from the future, between him and Catwoman. And this is really heavy, you've got all the narration here. And the page, and you turn over the page, and I just thought this was a wonderful, I just thought this was really well staged with the heavy, like Batman style narration from the other page. And then that, I missed you so much, Dad. She's basically been skipping through time to, amongst other things, save his life. And the rest of the JSA. And Mikel Janin and Jerry Ordway's artwork in this has complemented Jeff Johns' storyline so much. Here's another team from, it's all different teams, all different, it's all mixed and mashed up. Here's the big bad. And, the time travel element of this story is used nicely to defeat the, to give you the conceit of what they need to defeat the villain. And I've just really enjoyed it. And this is how you do superheroes. These are righteous, positive, here's all the different futures that this bloke is saying, I've won. But they don't give up. And he proper gives all of the JSAs from all the different timelines a properly good run for their money. Like a good villain should. And how about that for a splash page? If you're into your DC, which you guys know I'm getting more and more into, I'm buying a bit more DC now than I ever have. But, I mean, I've enjoyed all this, let alone, hardcore DC fans seeing all the different, has it been done before? Yeah. But no, this felt fresh enough to me. This felt fresh enough to me. And it wasn't something that at any point I was thinking, it's so light. It's just nice to have superheroes not deconstructed, stay like I was saying a moment ago, to stay righteous, to stay hopeful, and embody everything that superheroes were created for. You know, you've got a bit of the dead man stuff in there, and that's how it started, and he's in Night Terrors and that as well. You know, that's enough. That's enough. And it's not quips. This is a fun read. This is a fun read. And what, you know, the way, and this was a nice ending as well, where, you know, Batman he realises he can't, you know, the daughter can't stay there. It has ramifications. And this is what they discuss at the end. Very, if you can pick this up in graphic novel, or, you know, trade paperback, whatever you want to call it, this storyline, then I thoroughly recommend it if you like your superheroes. Thoroughly recommend it. After that, we had the first issue of Dark Droids. Nice cover there by Lionel Francis Yu, however you pronounce his name. I haven't seen his artwork for a long while. And basically, like I said, this is about the Allspark. Now, the Allspark is it the Allspark? Or am I thinking of something from Marvel? Why am I suddenly thinking? Anyway, it's something that's been released. It's a in other Star Wars comics, in part of the storylines, and it's basically inhabiting. It's part of the dark side of the Force, and it is inhabiting droids. That is your storyline, and it applies to all droids. It gets into one. This thing here. Oh, Spark Eternal. I think the Allspark is something from Marvel, isn't it? The Spark Eternal. I was the Spark Eternal. Well, it's dark. It's dark. It's, you know, it's the dark side of the Force. And basically, well, it says that's what it says on the tin. It's dark droids. So he's going to slowly infect. The artwork's lovely. I think, anyway. How dark, like they've made the. It's not Lionel Francis Yu. He done the cover. Luke Ross's artwork in this, lovely. And, you know, I like these point of views from the infected robots, eye sockets, and all your classic Star Wars stuff. Obviously, with the power that the robots have, and all hell ensues. Obviously, so from there he can take over this Star Destroyer. And I won't show any more because it has some good reveals at the end of this episode. And as you can see, you know, it's just a nice grown-up Star Wars story. Here we go. I might as well show you one more. It's quite dark, but it's going to be because it's called Dark Droids. One of the best Star Wars books. I think that this is going to be a stonking read. And obviously Charles Soule has written a lot of Star Wars stuff amongst other things. So yeah, I've got real high hopes for that one. And on to Sacrifices. Really intrigued. Nice cover. Intrigued by the bird characters, flamed hair. And we're off to a great start with fantasy setting. And Rick Remender on the work, and like I say, Max Fuimara on the art. Rick Remender on the writing. And this is a quirky fantasy tale. Obviously, we're starting off here. We don't read, we haven't been. It's obviously a fantasy setting, and we're with this family, and this young kid is being, punished by his father. I mean, there's other words for it, other words for this kind of behaviour in the modern day world. Here's his sister come to comfort him, where he's been thrown in the barn, but this is all the intrigue. We're introduced to this character here with the flaming hair. Somehow, this species have got, they're the ruling class, and I love that. Very, very nice artwork. It was really what a beautiful matchup for this kind of fantasy story setting. Nice details. Something's going on with her dad, because this girl was eavesdropping on this conversation. This is the king's mistress, not her mum. So a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but it's all set up, backstory, but they're giving us just enough and teasing us with the rest. Look at that, beautiful. absolutely beautiful. We don't really know what powers they have. They've got flame hair and beard, like flame hair and beards, but this obviously alludes to a power. And then we're back with the family, and now we're getting deeper into it. Now this guy's turned up, and it is time for the harvest, and apparently you've got to give away your eldest male offspring, and that's where we get the word sacrifices from. Because at the end we see this collector is collecting more, and they're humans. They're not all bird people or whatever we're going to call them. Find out they are. It's just lovely. Look, see, we've got all different types. We've got different species of bird. We've got humans. We've got one of these. So we are in quite a rich. I like the fact that we're in a rich fantasy world, but they haven't gone over the top explaining everything. Rick Remender. And there we go. Really enjoyed that. Really, really enjoyed it. Back page, like I said at the beginning, come on, guys. You could have done a nice blurb there to explain this first issue of a new fantasy story. Really could. But nevertheless, thoroughly enjoyed it. Right, now we're going to come on to something a little bit different. And you're going to realise why I've started here and gone a bit more widescreen, guys, because I need to show. This is obviously Frank Frazetta art book. Now this is called Fire and Ice. This painting of his from back in the 70s. They've done something in the 80s with it, as in a film. Ralph Bakshi. It didn't do very well, but Frazetta did a lot of artwork for it. He did a whole series of stuff. Frank Frazetta, and obviously this is the comic that come out this week. And I just thought I would show that, I don't normally pick up the comics. Like in the past, they've done a Death Dealer comic, which was based on another painting of Frazetta's. His work evokes a lot of imaginative people to tell stories just about the paintings or the characters he creates. And I just wanted to show everyone that to begin with, because what I'd like you to remember here is how powerful the artwork is. Oh, sorry guys, I'm having to move around the size of this book. And Leonardo Manco's artwork, how he has, you can tell it's his artwork. We're obviously on this, again, another fantasy story. There seems to be a fantasy theme this week. Stuff like this. I've been a Frazetta fan for a long, long while. I own some original art back in the day of his. And I know when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at someone who has really tried to, even the feet here. And the way he's done Leonardo's done, Manco's done the jungle settings, stuff like this. This is pure Frazetta inspired, and I love it. I'll get to my point. I love it. When you look at this sketch here, you look at this figure here by Frank Frazetta, and you look at this artwork by Leonardo Manco, and you tell me that the man wasn't inspired, but in a good way. I'm not saying he's copied Frazetta. Leonardo Manco is still his own man. Even this stuff here, this is all pure. The fact that the horse has got all these hairy hooves is pure Frazetta. I mean, this is very Death Dealer-esque, the other painting I mentioned. But nevertheless, what this is doing is bringing Frazetta to us in full colour. And a great story as well. I don't know too much. I've been a fan of his artwork. I don't know if he created the story, Frank Frazetta, back in the day, and the film that Bakshi done. I'm not up on all that. All this is from other Frazetta paintings. This much I know. You can just see what's been plucked out and fair play. Now, see, this is pure Leonardo Manco. Now, there's nothing. We're in the Ice Kingdom, obviously. Fire and Ice. It's about the northern guys versus the southern guys. End of. the rest of that you can pick up when you pick up the comic, because I thoroughly recommend this. This was a very, very decent intro story. There's a lot going on, a lot of different characters. Again, this is from another painting. So they really are sticking to Frazetta, and this is a beautiful homage to him as an issue 1 of a comic. A beautiful homage. And I'll leave it there because I think I've given everyone enough flavour. But again, like I say, just take a look and see like how the guy has worked within the world of Frazetta, and that is really, for me, that was really exciting, and love it. From that, I've got another example of artwork to show from the Hog collection, another big boy. And this time, obviously, anyone who loves Marvel knows this name, John Buscema. And like I said in the intro, he's the one who, if you've ever seen Conan comics, he's the one whose artwork you would have seen. This stuff. He was on it for years. And this was a great run with Bellet, where she's there. They were pirates and lovers. A brilliant storyline that ended well, not beautifully for Bellet. I don't know. In my head, Bellet was the name, but now I'm saying it out loud. I don't know why. But look at this cover, and I thought straight away that was John Buscema. Look at that. And again, I think this, the guys, they've made a conscious effort. To evoke, for a start, a little bit of member berries in older fanboys. But for new people that may have not even known about Buscema stuff, this look is Conan for comics. It just fits. It fits and it works. And then when I opened up this comic, I literally thought, when I flipped through this, I had to flip through. I flipped through from the back to the front. To be fair, I thought this was going to be a reprint. The artwork style on this by Villainous. Sorry, no, that's the colorist, by Rob De La Torre. It's just wow! It's John Buscema, like reborn. When you look at stuff like, and as you can see, action-packed storyline, straight into it, and it's the helmet from the movie gets knocked off straight away. But that was a nice little. I thought that was a nice little wink to the audience if you've been a long-time Conan fan like I have. Here we go with one-eyed wench in the bar, and then the story goes off proper. Little bit of background there about in Cimmeria, like his backstory for new readers. Love it, bringing us in. And it's just, you just look at Buscema's artwork compared to, this is the Conan film adaptation, and you can just, even the shading of stuff, all this is pure John Buscema, but there is nothing wrong with it, because I was straight in on this and just loved it. And it's a good read. It's not over wordy, because that's what a lot of Conan writers have done. There was an image I wanted to show, but I don't know if I don't want to flick through this book too much. Maybe I should have bookmarked it a bit more. But it was because when this woman turns up, the mysterious woman who's warning them all to, there's a horde of kind of zombie type monster characters. She literally has been, she has literally been drawn in the style of Bellet. I'm going to just say Bellet. from the original Conan comics of the late 70s. Yeah, this would have been late 70s, or did it say on here actually? No, it would have been late 70s, I think, maybe early 80s. You can just see what the guys are riffing off it. The writing style, is it reminiscent of Roy Thomas, who wrote these comics, back in the 70s and that? Probably not. I think it's a bit more of a modern, like I say, wordy when it needs to be. But the words adding to the imagery, not describing what we're seeing, which is good. Like you can see, action-packed, not averse to the gore. This was a fantastic comic. Brilliant read, awesome artwork, awesome colouring, just literally top marks for everything, this comic. So well done to Titan, because that is, for me, that is spot on. And if this isn't a hit, I don't know what. So we move on to cover of the week, guys, don't we? Now, some weeks there isn't much of a choice. I've got to say, because we're looking at it from the point of view of the old days. Yeah, as I say, every week. So we've got limited pocket money. We've got a comic book to choose. As beautiful artwork as that is, I just thought I'd show it because I really do like the artwork. But if you're a Star Wars fan, that Yoda book kind of says it all, doesn't it? I thought that was quite an evocative piece of artwork. That one also, I think if you had your pocket money and you're looking at the spinner in the newsagents and you're spinning the comics round, this kind of says a lot. How exciting is that? Luke Skywalker in the middle of all the robots. Love it, to be fair. One comic I didn't mention, because I banged on about the Night Terrors stuff a lot, but I just thought that was quite an impactful cover. With this monster attacking, it's obviously one of Batman's nightmares. And I did think that, as covers go, I mean, that says it all. It's not the most impactful, but Justice Society of America, with that kind of, reminds me of those Alex Ross paintings that he used to do for Marvel and DC, and he still does. Of Kingdom Come and stuff like that, where you're looking up at the superheroes. This one I thought was just a great, I just thought that was such a well rendered painting, however it's been done. I don't begin to imagine it was done by hand. But what would we do without I mean, come on, there's a lot going on there. Look, Venomverse and that. I mean, come on. So, yeah, these are, as evocative as that is. And same again, it's nice artwork, but, I'm thinking about the young kid or the young hog. What he was going to do, is he going to buy Batman and, having the ruck there with the monster? Is he going to go Star Wars with the droids? Yeah, that's all right. Even the Conan one, as much as you know how much I've loved this comic from how I gushed about it, but nevertheless, it is just a bloke with a sword on it. Can't help thinking it is down between these two this week, but I think it's Venomverse. I think that, however it was created, whatever medium this is, I can't tell, but that is a cover, and that gets cover of the week, because I think that would make me. I've just noticed, look, characters here. These are obviously all different Venom. Look, oh yeah, I've just noticed all this now. See, I've noticed, Carnage standing triumphant over all the Venoms. So you can't whack it. So that is cover of the week for me this week, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you're still enjoying a new format, everyone. And thanks again if you are watching me or listening to me this far in, and I will see you all next week, hopefully. So, adios.